It's Tottenham versus Newcastle United, match week 26 in the Premier League. Tottenham's home form is as bad as Newcastle's away form, so it could be a really boring game potentially, but still a lot to discuss from what my thoughts going into it, score prediction, what my line will be, what I predict Thomas Frank will actually set up. Combined 11, a couple of combined teams I've got in here, both with fit players and with, the injured players included. Head to head between Tottenham and Newcastle, the latest injury news for both teams, so stay tuned till the very end. Hope you're all keeping well. Tottenham will be looking for a response for the defeat against Manchester United that Christian Romero, as much as I like him, sabotaged for Eddie Howe and Newcastle. The pressure is on as well. Disappointing home defeat to Brentford. So James's Park, clearly not the fortress it was. And Newcastle have been woeful away from home this year. Just 2 wins on the road. Exactly the same for Tottenham at home. Just 2 wins at home coming against Brentford and Burnley. Big gap in between them now. Has been a big gap since we last won as well at home, being Brentford, and no league win at all, home or away, in 2026. And the last home win, I think you have to go back to around October, November time. So whatever way you look at it, the pressure's on both teams. The pressure's on both managers. A draw is not a good result. I won't say that both managers, like, if they lose, they're out kind of thing, but they're both under pressure. There's no doubt about that. Both will probably make it through to the end of the year, but doesn't mean that they're doing necessarily a great job. Before we get into then the head-to-head stats, injury news, this is the latest at the time of recording. Both managers have not had their press conference, though. So for Tottenham, we know that you've got Kulusevski, Spence, Davis, Romero suspended, Adogi, Danso, Porro, Madison, Bergvall, Bentancur, Kudus, and Richarlison. The only one here that is in contention to come back is Jed Spence, who didn't quite make the cut for the United games. The evidence would suggest that he's expected to make this one. Will the risk be taken or not? I personally think the risk will not be taken because we don't play for a while after that, because we don't play at the weekend. We're not involved in FA Cup action. So therefore, why risk it going into the national break? That might be the way that Frank looks at it. For Newcastle, missing key players such as Anthony Gordon, very key, Joe Linton, Fabian Schär, etc. Livermento's a big one. There's nowhere near returning. So most of Newcastle's injuries are looking at April to March. The only one that could be back is Miley. So Spence could be back for Tottenham and Miley could be back. But Tottenham now really struggling in terms of injuries. So that it does favour Newcastle. A lot of players missing, as we know, for Tottenham. League table then, just a reminder, Newcastle United sit in 12th place with 33 points. Tottenham sit just 3 spaces below in 15th with a horrible 29 points. So 4 points in it. So Tottenham cannot leapfrog Newcastle, but they can get closer. Both these teams want European football even at this stage, no doubt about it. Both teams underperforming, both teams struggling for a win. No wins in terms of Newcastle in the last 4, and no wins for Tottenham in over 5 games. So not a good look at all. Both teams in some of the worst form, apart from Wolverhampton Wanderers in the league. But head-to-head is the important one between the sides. Here we go then, just a total of 9 draws, 61 played between the two sides. So no, it's very interesting. And, if you look at there for Tottenham, home win, you've got wins there, 26, home 16, 9 away, and Newcastle 12 away, 15 at home, 27 wins. Interesting. And Newcastle have definitely got the upper hand in the last few. So the last 4, 2-2 draw last time out in December this season. But before that, Newcastle last season under Ange Postecoglou done the double over us, 2-1 wins. Then we lost 4-0 in April, but then we did win 4-1 at the Tottenham Stadium in 2023. So Newcastle have got a good record against Tottenham, especially in the last 4. And we know some of the results before that as well, 6-1, for example, at St James's Park. But we have got a couple of wins there as well. I think one was Steve Bruce's last game, if I'm not mistaken. But my thoughts going into the game before we get into anything else, I'm not feeling confident. Why would you? Just 2 wins at home for Tottenham, really struggling. And make no mistake about it, we could get dragged into something we don't want to get dragged into. 6 points away from the drop, and Newcastle and Arsenal next. That is not a good look for any side. Leeds United picking up points. West Ham United picking up points. This is a concern. Forest eventually will pick up more points than they are doing at this current moment. So it's not good for Tottenham. Palace, by the way, have turned the corner. Brighton, you would have thought, get it together eventually. Poor form, but under Fabian Hertzler, surely the only way is up. So, and Bournemouth are up as well. So all the teams in and around Tottenham are improving. Currently in 15th place, and Opta, who's usually seen as positive, the supercomputer, they predict Tottenham to finish 15th. So that's a stark reality of what's facing Tottenham at the moment. Newcastle United in a similar boat, I thought Newcastle got it together, if I'm honest with you, at the end of last year, December time, I think it was early January, where they got results together and pushing towards top six. But it's kind of fallen off again. And Eddie Howe's been really honest, taking the full responsibility. Frank's been honest, but not in terms of the job that he's doing. I wish Frank would absorb some of that pressure himself. It'd be easier for his players. What would be my team then? You may be thinking, this would be my team. I'd go with a 4-3-3 formation to match what Newcastle United usually go with and probably will go with in this game. Viking goal, back line of Gray, Dragusin, Van der Ven, and Sousa. In midfield three, Pat Matasar, Yapolinia, and the wonderful Xavi Simons, and a front three of Dom Solanke, Wilson Odobert, and Matthias Tell. And this is different to what we saw, for example, against United, where, in my opinion, Simons is left hung to dry on that left-hand side. So this will be more attacking. Of course, you've got really 4 attacking players in there in what would be my team, Odobert, Solanke, Tell, and Xavi Simons. But it's more than likely, which we'll get into in a second, that Frank just goes with 3 attacking players rather than the 4 because of injuries, he would say as well. Sousa at left back, I said there, Spence, I don't think the risk will be taken. We've got a lot of fullbacks unavailable. Doggy is expected to miss this game. Again, a doubt, but expected to miss this one. So with a Doggy out, with Davis out, with Porro out, with Spence out, the fullbacks are few and far between. So Gray at right back and Sousa at left back is what I'd go with just what's I know is available. The press conference could change that, of course. So don't think, Harry, Doggy and Spence are available. Why aren't you playing them at the time of recording? They're unavailable, if that makes sense. Midfield, then, Paulinia for me will relish the physical battle. No Joelinton for Newcastle, but still, Guimaraes, Tonali, their engine rooms, they're physical players. And I think Sarr has bulked up a lot and can, really thrive in this environment, but in particular, Polinia is what I'm thinking of. And I have gone without Conor Gallagher in this game. For me, he's come in and played every game, and for me, it's just about caution with minutes. And I think an introduction for the bench in this one is what I'd personally do. And I just think this midfield 3 could work potentially best. And then Odobert on that right, I really like him at the moment. Solanke, you've got to find a way to get him in the game, just like Nick Voltemada with Newcastle. They have to find a way to utilise their striker. They've got more of a problem than we have with Solanke scoring 2 against Man City. A couple of games to go. Matthias Tell on that left-hand side, I think, could give Newcastle a torrid time out that right. I'm hoping they start Kieran Trippier at 35. His best days are behind him. I think if Newcastle start Miley at right back, it's a tougher task for Tottenham because I think, although he's a midfielder by bread and butter, midfield by nature, he has done a good job with stepping in at right back, better than Kieran Trippier. So for Tottenham, we need Kieran Trippier to start on the right, and Matthias Tell could have a good afternoon. I think Frank will make one change to what I'd actually go with. I think Frank will go with Conor Gallagher over Matthias Tell. He hasn't preferred Matthias Tell. I don't think his treatment of Tell has been very good. So I think he'd put Xavi Simons on the left-hand side again, which is fine. Xavi versus even Miley, but in particular Xavi versus Trippier could be a really exciting battle. Absolutely. But I think sometimes when things aren't working, you need to fix things for Tottenham, fix the tools if it isn't working. I know we haven't got a lot of tools to juggle, but the few that we have, I'd rather also see the youth academy than square pegs and round holes. Ironic Senna would start great at right back, but I think we need to be looking to some of the youth academy that are ready to play. These players that we hype constantly, such as Luca Williams-Barnett, I know in the attacking position, but and Byfield may be in this game. We are down to the bare bones. We're now down to 12 or 13 senior players realistically. That's what I think Frank will go with. Before we end then, score prediction to come, but combined 11. So this is the combined 11 based on just players that are fit. Spurs has to be like, oh my God, no Romero. He's suspended, so he cannot be included in this first team. Second one, he can be. So this one is how I do it, is it's just based on players that fit. So if we go back to the injuries, all these players cannot be included in the combined 11, if that makes sense. So I already out and explain my thinking. Viking goals, Spence at right back, Hall at left back, Malik Chow and Mickey van der Ven as the 2 centre-backs. Very even so far. Yao Polinia, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes in midfield. Harvey Barnes, Dominic Solanke and Xavi Simons as a front 3. So it's pretty balanced and fair, I would say, is what I tried to be fair. Anyway, so Viking goal, Newcastle haven't been able to nail a number 1 in goal between Aaron Ramsdale and Nick Pope. If they put them both together, they wouldn't have a bad, they'd have a decent goalkeeper. Ramsdale a lot better with his feet, but not with shot stopping at all, not with command in his area. Pope's a strong physical tool, dominant goalkeeper that's very good in many ways, but he's not good with his feet. He's not good if it's hit low and hard in the corner, and he's prone to a mistake. Vic, for me, isn't perfect. I think we need better in the summer, but I'd rather Vicario than Ramsdale or Nick Pope at this current moment. Lewis Hall will go as far as saying he's the best left back right now in the Premier League. One of the best in Europe as well. I'd go that far. He's exceptional. If you watch him play, it's the passion, it's the aggression, it's the quality in particular. I mean, my choice has been made easy at centre-back. Chow and Van der Ven. Thank you very much, Romero, for making that easy. Botman, it doesn't quite get in there for me. I think Chow's the best centre back the Newcastle have, even with everyone fit and available. Van der Ven and Romero, I love for Tottenham, and Romero being out, Van der Ven, of course, slips in there. Spence as well, I'll go with it right back, and I don't think Trippier's done anywhere near enough to be in there. Marley as well, he just put the player out position. Gray as well. Gray and Marley in a similar boat, both midfielders, so it didn't feel right to put them at right back, down to the bare bones for both teams in that position, in particular fullback positions. Both teams, Eddie Howe and Thomas Frank, will, I'm sure, vent their frustration if they spoke together about the fullbacks they're missing this season and the unluckiness they've had in that position. Midfield, then, this is now done for me. Paulinho, Tonali, and Guimaraes. I mean, Joelinton's out, but Tonali and Guimaraes, fantastic players, in particular Guimaraes and Paulinho. That'd be such a physical midfield that would be more defensive look, but Guimaraes would be your creative part. That midfield three wouldn't change for me, even if everyone was available. Wouldn't change that much. Anyway, front three then, Barnes, Solanke, and Xavi Simons. Harvey Barnes is such a clinical player. Xavi Simons has been a lot better recently. And for me, Newcastle, again, like with the goalkeeper position, they can't now striker like Nick Voltemada or Johan Wissa, they can't decide, and neither have really hit the ground running. Vissa's taken a while. Voltemada did hit the ground running, but now struggling for a goal in a little bit of a drought. So we'll go Solanke, maybe some Spurs bias in that. Then my second combined 11, then if everyone was fit and available. So all these players can be included here that are injured or suspended, which is fantastic. So I'll just talk you through the changes. Livramento would come in at right back, just about over Porro because he's better defensively. He's all round game. Romero will come in for Malik Chow. Newcastle fans won't like me for that. And I'll tell you what, I've just, completely gone back on what I said, contradicting myself there. I'll go with Kulusevski over Tonali, a tough decision, but what a strong bench with Tonali on it. And that midfield, that front three, rather, I'd take Xavi Simons out for Gordon. So coming in is Anthony Gordon, Kulusevski, Livramento, and Romero. What would be your two combined 11s? Let me know in the comments below. Score prediction to end. I think there'll be goals in it. Both teams struggling defensively, particularly Newcastle. Spurs poor at home, Newcastle poor away. Has a draw written all over it, especially as both teams need a result. I'm going to go with 2-2 in this game. Get your score prediction in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that subscribe button. Come on, you Spurs.